Yo, what is up, guys? We're here, and it's not a spiral video, so that's pretty good, right? Anyways, let's go ahead and show off another FTK in the game that is going off right now. Shoutouts to Tasman for sending in some replays, but also shoutouts to Yugioh Sylvian, because apparently he's the guy that originally figured this out over on Reddit. But anyways, it is a new FTK utilizing the Topologic Dragon in Sylvans, utilizing a card I'm just going to call Phoenix Cluster because the name is so long. By the time I say it, the video will be already over. But anyways, basically you get to actually loop your opponent and burn them for game. It's actually kind of an interesting loop. I didn't actually expect to see something like this, but I mean, black with the Black Garden, I remember the Topologic Dragon was also a pretty annoying thing to deal with. But let me go ahead and explain what the heck is going on. As you guys are seeing it right here, he's going to be able to beat his opponent before his opponent even gets one turn. So what he's using is the Phoenician Cluster Amaryllis, or I'm just going to call it Phoenix Cluster just for short. But anyways, this card, during the end phase, you can just keep on special summoning it by banishing a plant monster. And then if it is destroyed by a card effect and sent to the graveyard, you get to actually burn your opponent for 800. Now, with Topologic Dragon's effect, when something is summoned to wherever the link arrows points to, you destroy all monsters in the main monster zone. So therefore, you can keep on actually looping this over, so it's going to destroy itself, and then it's going to come back, and then it's going to destroy itself, and every time you do that, you're going to be burning your opponent for 800 points of damage. Usually, what that means is that you're going to be banishing 10 plant monsters, and throughout the combo, you're going to get enough, so don't worry about, like, I need to get a certain amount of plants in the graveyard. It's going to be okay, with the exception of course, Macrocosmos. You will be able to loop your opponent very easy. Now, we did see an FTK over here, and I got a few replays to showcase for you guys, and then I'll also give you guys the deck profile. But I wanted to showcase a few variants of the deck in action here, or I guess I should say variants of the one turn kill burning his opponent to death. There's actually another card over here called Evil Thorn that can actually kind of help out with some extra burn damage as well. It gets you another 300 points of burn damage. But anyways, there's also the Auro Maserafi Jasmine over here, which is the new Auro Mage Link monster. Lets you tribute a plant monster that it points to, and then what you're able to do is then just special summon any plant monster from your deck. And because this card over here can definitely stall out your opponent, you're able to just kind of have some extra monsters there. So if you don't happen to pull off the FTK, you can go for an OTK the following turn because you're going to have a few extra monsters to defend up. So hopefully you won't just die in one turn. I know a lot of decks will just absolutely just destroy turn one, and you really need to have extra monsters out on the field. Otherwise, with no monsters left in the field, you know who's coming out. But anyways, once again, we're going to be seeing the effect over here, just destroying everything. I mean, this card is just crazy with Black Garden. I remember some of you guys probably saw that video when I matched up against it. I was like, this is kind of broken, man. But yeah, this is a new FTK with the Topologic Dragon. I don't know if this card is going to get hit, or they might hit something else, because it just seems like this card opens up so many FTKs, OTKs, just crazy different little things over here. And I know that there is technically another FTK with the Jasmine. There's tons of OTKs with that card by actually so many monsters, but this is a variant where you don't even need to summon monsters and then actually attack. Then we have one more over here, which I just want to show you guys another version of, I guess, the OTK, because this card is actually pretty cool. The Super Solar Nutrient basically gives you more access to Lone Fire Blossoms. Basically, if you have Lone Fire Blossom, you just got game. There's a little bit of play with it. You can definitely open up with a few other cards, as you guys will be seeing in some of these replays. You don't have to open up with Lone Fire Blossom to pull off the FTK. There's tons of versions of it. You guys can probably think of a lot of other variants to pull it off, but I'm just going to show you guys like the basic ones and also some of the other cards now. This card is really good. Like I said, this is just another copy of Lone Fire at the end of the day. So we decided to go ahead and go for a World Legacy World Armor. This is actually a pretty cool card. So it works pretty well. We're going to pretty much see the same thing. It's just the bread and butter. Just go Lone Fire, Lone Fire, Lone Fire. Then you get extra plants into the graveyard. Then you can go ahead and make the Evil Thorn. And then you get out 2 more Evil Thorns. And then you go ahead and exceed those into the Princess Sprite over there. And with that effect, you can excavate the top card. If it's a spell trap, add to your hand, otherwise send it to the graveyard. Basically, you're going to see the same thing. But I want to go over this card's effect, because this card is actually pretty cool. The World Legacy World Armor, so when a monster is flip summoned, you can just special summon it from your hand. And if this card is normal or special summon, you get to add another World Legacy card from your deck to your hand. And if you control this normal summon, or set monster as a quick effect, you get to target one face-up monster your opponent controls that was special from the extra deck. Return both this card to the hand and the other card. You can only activate its effect once per turn. But the card's gone now. Topologic Dragon, getting rid of it. And you guys already know what's going to be happening. Every single time it's going to be burning his opponent for 800 points of damage over and over again. And at some point this guy's like, okay, I understand what you're doing. I'm going to go ahead and just quit. And it happens like right now. There we go. But yeah, basically it's a really annoying thing to deal with, and it seems like it's pretty consistent, as Tasman has sent me in when he mentioned it. He put a note in. He says very, very consistent. But now that you guys have seen it in action, I know that some of you guys want the deck profile so you guys can actually play it and try it out yourself and let me know how consistent it is. So let's go ahead and jump into the deck profile. I feel like you could still play this deck without even going for the FTK. Like, when it's there, yeah, it's obviously pretty strong. I was also thinking that the deck does not have any hand traps, so it's a very aggressive deck. I was also thinking that, like, you might not need some cards. Like, for example, Soul Charge can be insane in Sylvans, but if you just want to go for a more cheesy version of the deck, you could drop maybe certain cards like this, or you might not need to play triple copies of World Carrotweight Champion, although he's good there for the memes. Maybe add some Ash Foreheads, also adding in maybe like Ghost Ogre. I know hand traps are very, very big in the game. DD Crow is also getting some popularity. If some of you guys can't afford all of the hand traps, I've seen people also play that just to deal with, again, some of the fast decks in the game. But I want to give you guys a deck profile as it was originally sent in, and obviously you guys can make suggestions there in the comment section below. But let's go ahead and jump into it. So first off, we have 3 copies of one of the cards that is required for the win condition. I'm just going to call it, again, Phoenix Clusters, because it's really easy to say that over the full name. But yeah, this card's just really excellent. Technically, you only need 1, but obviously if you draw into them, you can definitely utilize, you can go with the World Carrotweight. There's other ways you can just get rid of the card as well, like this 1-for-1 also is a really great card. Just go ahead and send that, and then you go ahead and special summon like whatever card you need, and then just super summon Nutrient and go straight into Lone Fire. Usually you're going to be getting Evil Thorn, but yeah. Anyways, next up we have the Sylvan Sejakoya over here. Really great card. We actually did see it in action. I also really like this because, if I remember correctly, this is a level 7. Back in the day when people actually made, like, you know, rank 7s, you know, Big Eye is still a really great card. I like it a lot. But you decided to go with 2 copies of Aurea, the Sylvan High Arbor. Really great card. But I just remember, like, Big Eye was just one of the biggest threats, and like this is just a really great card to go into Big Eye. And then you also have the Sylvan Guardian Oak over here. So since this is a level 6, it's basically a Beatrice machine over here. And then what's pretty, you can choose a number between 1 to 3. It's always going to be 3. You excavate that many cards, and then you send any of the excavated plant type monsters to the graveyard, and then also play the other cards in the bottom of your deck in any order. And then this card is excavated. You can target another plant monster in your graveyard and place that on the top of your deck. So you kind of set up your top decking, and then obviously you can kind of manipulate it for your own benefit. And then you have World Carrotweight Champion. I remember this card was an OCG exclusive card for quite some time. But anyways, if it's in your graveyard, you get to send 1 plant monster from your hand or face up on your side of the field to the graveyard, except for itself to special summon that card. So it's just kind of like a stepping stone for extra variants of pulling off the FTK. Also, because you're able to send 1 plant monster from your hand, it's usually going to be one of these, or if you happen to not optimally utilize your Evil Thorns early on, that can help your count and just kind of get them out of the way. 3 copies of Lone Fire, which is basically you draw this, you win. Next up we have Downing Line, still a really great card. You can just straight go foolish it and get the tokens and then go into things. I mean, this card is just absolutely insane. And then we have 3 copies of Rose Lover. So you banish the card from your graveyard to special summon a plant monster from your hand, and if you do, it's immune to trap effects this turn, which you only really want to turn if you're pulling off an FTK anyways. Then we have 3 copies of the Peacekeeper. So if one's normal or special, you can activate the top card of your deck. I think we saw it maybe once. It's just a lot of level 1s really is what it comes down to go into Princess Sprite. Then we have the Cherub Sprout over here. I guess we should kind of go over the effects of all of them. My bad, I kind of skipped out in Peacekeeper. So anyways, when it's normal summon or special, you can excavate the top card, and if it's a plant, you send it to the graveyard, otherwise you place it at the bottom. And if this card is excavated from the deck to the graveyard, you can target a level 4. One level 4 lower plant monster from your graveyard, which is 99% of the time is going to be this card. And sometimes it's okay to get the extra tokens if you need, but usually it's just going to be this card. And then we have 3 copies of Chirp Sprout over here. So when this card is special summon, you can choose either 1 or 2. Like I said, it's always going to be the max number. And then you activate that many, send all the plant monsters to the graveyard, and then place the rest of them at the bottom of your deck in any order. But if this card is excavated, you can special summon 1 level 1 plant monster from your deck. So again, this is just more access to making this. Also can go into Evil Thorn, which then burns your opponent. And also sets up your graveyard for extra cards, and then it gives you double cards to make the Princess Sprite. Next up, we have Sylvian Princess Sprout. So Princess Sprout has got 2 effects. You can only activate each effect about once per turn. The first effect is you tribute to activate the top card of your deck and you send it to the graveyard. Then you place 1 Sprout monster in your graveyard on the top of the deck. And if this card is excavated from the graveyard by the card effect, you can declare a level from 1 through 8 to special summon this card from the graveyard. If you do, it becomes a level. Can really just help you make certain things. I'm not really too much of a fan of this in this deck, but it is another level 1. That's just my take on it. I feel like you can probably pull out the FTK much more consistent if you swapped out some cards, and this is a card I personally would be swapping out. But this card is definitely cool if you want to, like, you know, change up the extract to make other things. This card is obviously great for it because it lets you manipulate the levels. Also, because of these cards, you can technically go into other cards, but again, like the way that this extra deck was oriented, it doesn't seem like you're going to be able to go for like Big Eye, and you know, there's, you know, what's it, Photon Bouncer. There's so many other like just great like monsters in the game that just aren't here because extra deck's still at 15. But anyways, Evil Thorn, really great card. Again, this is just you tribute it, you burn your opponent, and then you summon double, which then lets you go into this. Then we got the Spore Global lineup. Then we have Foolish. I would have thrown like Trishul on here. We got tuners, but we got no real access to really utilizing them for synchros. However, keep in mind, guys, these are still there just to actually be a stepping stone for some of the link plays in here. I know some people are like, why don't you play synchros? Well, they're just used as stepping stones, guys. Anyways, next up we got Foolish. Foolish, usually you want to hit this card, or you go for this card if you need to get one of these cards in the graveyard, because it just lets you get rid of a card in your hand. And then we got the Foolish. We just went over that. And then we got Sylvan Charity, basically Graceful Charity, but for Sylvans. And then we have the Soul Charge, Reasoning. This card could be really, really good. And then a 1-for-1, and then triple copies of Let Me Get Out Lone Fire Blossom. Basically, that's what it comes down to. Next up, for the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Aurea, 1 of Beatrice, 2 copies of Princess Sprite, 2 copies of the Topologic Dragon, 1 copy of Skull Deet. I mean, it's a really cool new card. You can draw 4 cards, but then you have to place 3 cards from your hand at the bottom of your deck in any order. Then we got the Firewall Dragon, Deco Talker, 2 of the Auto Mage, completely balanced Kappa card. Then we have Akashic Magician, really great with Grinder Golem. I was actually thinking that you can actually make this deck way more consistent by actually utilizing other plays with Grinder Golem. I mean, this one does technically require plant monsters, but you can actually go use Grinder Golem and just so many variants just to like force out other things. Because if you guys remember, I did a video a while ago where Grinder Golem is a 1 card of the new Lightsworn Link monster. If you guys haven't checked that out, I'll link that down below. But basically, yeah, you can use just Grinder Golem, and if you want to drop some stuff in the extra deck, yeah, you could definitely make that because it does require you to have Link Kuriboh and Link Spider. But yeah, it's just OTK central, and you could probably pull off some other crazy variants of certain things because you can send you get a Foolish anyways. So like I said, I was going back to my points originally. Like, you can make this deck much more consistent, honestly. But again, I want to keep it original for the video. But yeah, I would put in Grinder Golems, honestly, because it's such an insane card. Because again, it doesn't matter that you give your opponent a 3k beater, even though you're gonna summon it twice anyways, you're bounce it back. But it really doesn't matter because you're gonna beat them before they even get a chance to play in the first place. Then we got Proxy Dragon and Link Kuriboh. But anyways, guys, that's it for the deck profile. Let me know your guys' thoughts on the Sylvan FTK in 2017. It's kind of cool because most of these cards are relatively cheap now. Hopefully this card won't be a secret rare, but you guys know how it is. We'll have to wait and see. Otherwise, I would say a lot of people probably have some of these cards already just lying around, and maybe they already played Sylvans in the past. But anyways, if you guys got any suggestions for the deck, I would love to hear them in the comment section below. But thanks for watching. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the video. If you did, drop a like on it. And if you're new to the channel, hit that subscribe button for more Yu-Gi-Oh! First Turn Win videos.